In this video, I'm going to review how to solve systems of equations with substitution. So I have this video that you can watch in case you need a little extra help. First question, Allie and Beth are driving to meet up. Allie starts at mile marker 3 on interstate and travels 60 miles per hour. Beth starts at mile marker 503, traveling 65 miles per hour. They will meet in blank hours. Solve using substitution. So we're trying to figure out when they will meet. First thing I'm going to have to do for this is kind of set up my equations. This is very similar to what you did in physics. I'm going to just do it in terms of distance. So I know distance is equal to your starting distance plus your velocity times time, or your speed times time. And I'm going to write an equation for each person. So it says Allie starts at mile marker 3. So Allie, so I'm going to say D sub A for Allie. She starts at 3, and then she moves, let's see, 60 miles per hour for so many hours. We don't know yet. So I'm just going to make our speed is 60, and our time is t. We don't know it yet. We then go to Beth. So the distance of Beth, D sub B. So she starts at mile marker 503. So her starting distance is 503. And she's traveling at 65 miles per hour, and we don't know for how many hours yet. The thing is, we know that they're meeting each other. That means one person is going in this direction and the other is going in the other, right? We're going to assume a straight road, nothing complicated. If we said that Allie is moving at 60 miles per hour, we assume that was positive. That's going to have to be opposite. So she must be going backwards 65. We're going to consider that backwards, so to speak. So her speed must be negative. So we're not just going to put 65, we're going to put minus 65 t. There's a lot of hidden information in this problem. One key is meet up. We have to kind of sketch out and visualize what they're each is doing. So Allie is going that way and Beth is going that way. We're meeting up. If you assumed plus 65, you're going to see that, wait, this is not going to make sense. The time is going to be negative. So you have to revisit and say, okay, what else can I do? But this sketch helps you figure it out. Another piece of hidden information, you need to understand that this is an equation that exists. So you get this from physics. So you do need to come in. We're expecting that you're going to come in with some basic science skills, or you can even figure it out intuitively. Like you're going to start wherever you start, and then every mile, right, every second or every hour, you're going to progress based on your speed. But these are two pieces of hidden information that you're expected to come in knowing. But now I have two equations. The last thing is we need to figure out when they will meet up. Meet up is also one more important piece of information. When they meet up, they're going to be at the same place, right? So when they meet up, dA is going to be equal to dB. They're going to be at the same distance, wherever that is. So, and they said solve using substitution. Well, since these two are the same, in place of dB for the second equation, I could replace it with dA, right? So I could set these two equal to each other. So 3 plus 60t is equal to 503 minus 65t. And now I can just collect like terms and get t, find my t. So I'm going to decide to move everything. I'm going to move all of my t's to the left side. Don't have to, but I like my variables to be on the left side of my equation. So I'm going to add 65t here. If I add 65t here, I also have to add it right here. I have to do the same thing to both sides of the equation. And I want my 3 to come over here. I'm going to collect like terms, right? I want all my constants to go to one side. So I'm going to do one step because I see I'm running out of space. So I'm going to subtract 3 here. And I also have to subtract 3 here. So that's going to leave me with 125t is equal to 500. My last step is I need to get t by itself. I'm going to divide both sides by 125. And 500 divided by 125, it's a nice even 4. So it looks like they're going to meet up in 4 hours. Okay, now let's take a look at question 2. So we're going to still solve using substitution or elimination. So I just used substitution in the previous. We can see if we can use elimination here. Actually, we can't, because I see that we don't have two equations of the same form. However, I do see that one is already solved for y, so I can just replace the other one, right? Instead of y, I can write this whole expression. I'm just going to rewrite this. I see they gave me an improper fraction, so I can get 5/4. 1 and 1/4 x is the same as 5/4 x. So I'm just going to rewrite that. And I'm going to substitute, right, this in place of y, because we said y is equal to that. So let's rewrite that. So it's 5x minus 4 times all of that. We said it was 5/4 x plus 10. It's equal to 40. So now I did my substitution. I can now solve for x. So I have x both inside and outside of a parenthesis. So I'm going to distribute. I want them all out of a parenthesis. So 5x minus, and then 4 times 5/4 x. Well, my 4's actually cancel out here. That's kind of cool. So I'm going to be left with negative 5x. And then negative 4 times 10 gives me negative 40 equals 40. So here, let me see, I can collect my like terms. So 5x minus 5x, well, they cancel out actually. So I'm left with negative 40 equals 40. I look at this doesn't make sense. So negative 40 cannot be equal to 40. Whenever I have an equation like this that's inconsistent, it's not true, there is no solution. If I would have had an equation that was true, say I had 40 equals 40, I would have infinite solutions. So remember, with your systems, you can have either no solutions, infinite solutions, or one solution. So this is definitely a case with no solution. Okay, so the third question. At an ice cream shop, let me just zoom in. At an ice cream shop, Roy orders 3 scoops of ice cream and 1 topping for $3.95. Pete orders 2 scoops and 2 toppings for $3.10. What's the cost per scoop per topping? So we don't quite have an equation, but essentially we need to come up with an equation and figure out the amount for scoops and toppings. It looks like, right, those are the variables we're interested in. I'm going to let my scoops be S and my toppings be T. Why not? You can use an X and Y if you want, but I'm just going to go with what I have. And I'm going to write expressions for what I'm given. So let's start with Roy. He said 3 scoops, so 3 times S and 1 topping plus T. And he paid $3.95. And then Pete, let's see, he had 2 scoops, so 2S plus 2 toppings, 2T. And he paid $3.10. And we can use elimination. They both have the same form. And by elimination, I can subtract one from the other in order to get my answer. So let's see. So I'm going to just go ahead. It's already set up very nicely. I'm going to subtract the bottom from the top. And when I can do that, I can actually do I eliminate anything? I don't quite eliminate anything that way. So before I do that, maybe if I double this one, right, I can do that. If I double this, multiply this equation by 2, then I can somehow use elimination. So I'm going to multiply that whole equation by 2. So let's see, if I rewrite that, so that will give me, and why am I able to do this? I could do anything I want as long as I do it to both sides. I'm going to multiply this side and this side by 2. So that's going to give me 6s plus 2t is equal to, see, 395 times 2. I'm going to just use my little, I always mess these things up, so I like to use my calculator just to be sure. Okay, so that's equal to 790. So now what I'm going to do is I can then subtract these. So 2s, 2t equals 310. And I can subtract this. And when I subtract it, I'm going to get rid of my t's and I'll be left with scoops. Just my s. So 6 minus 2 is 4s. These eliminate. That was the whole point. And then 7.9 minus 310 will give me 4.8. And then my last step is I divide both sides by 4. So that gives me s is equal to 1.2. So my scoops are 120. And I look, actually, this is the only case where it's 120, right? So I know this is true. I could figure out if this is true. It's multiple choice. I can always plug in to check, but you can also plug this back into any of your equations and solve for toppings in order to get toppings. So you can choose any of these that you want. I'll choose the second one. Really doesn't matter. You could play any, mini, miny, mo. I'm just going to write it here because I'm running out of space. So now that I know that my scoops are 120, so 2 times 1 point s, or 1.2. So I'm using this equation right here, and I'm just substituting what I know. Plus 2t is equal to 310. And here I just get everything by itself. So 2t is equal to, let's see, I can multiply these two together. 2.4 plus 2t is equal to 310. I can subtract 2.4 from each side, and that will give me 2t is equal to, let's just double check. So 310 minus 2.4 equals 0.7. I divide both sides by 2, so t is equal to 0.35. And that's exactly what I got here. So the correct answer is this one right here. So let's go to our final question. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, I see. Here's my little toolbar right here. I'm not sure what happened to it. Okay, so we can solve this by elimination as well. I see that we have them in the same format. So if we were to subtract them, for example, I can see we can very easily get rid of this x term, right? If we subtract these two. So let's see what happens. So if I subtract the bottom from the top, what I'm going to get is these two will cancel out. So here I'll get negative 3y minus 4y gives me negative 7y, and equals, and then my 120 minus 43 gives me 77. And the last thing I would do is I would divide both sides by negative 7. So that gives me y equals negative 11. So now that I know my y, I can substitute this value into either of these equations. You can pick your favorite one, and I can calculate my x. So I'm just going to choose the bottom equation. You can choose the top one if you prefer that. So 29x plus 4 times negative 11 is equal to 43. Or I could expand that, 29x minus 44 is equal to 43. So I'm going to get x by itself, so I need to add 44 to both sides to get rid of that 44. So 29 is equal to 87, or 29x, I'm sorry. And then my last step is I'm going to divide both sides by 29. And that gives me x is equal to, and 29 divided by 87. Don't know if that's even, but we'll find out. So 87 divided by 29, we said. That gives us a 3. So it actually works out. It doesn't have to. It was 3.1. That doesn't mean you're wrong. We're in algebra. We're in high school now, right? So that can happen. So I have my final answer is x equals 3, y equals negative 11. So I would write it in this way, 3, negative 11. Right? Those are my answers.